Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Thanos to defeat the Avengers, and that is why you should follow my predictions. Alright, I'm here to talk about Terrence McKinney fighting Ismael Bonfim. Bonfim is making his debut along with his brother, who I think fights 2 or 3 fights after this. But Ismael's the older brother. He's 27 years old, got a record of 18-3. He's giving up 2 inches of height and reach to McKinney, who is 28 years old, and McKinney has a record of 13-4. McKinney is, if you know him, one of the most exciting fighters, win or lose. This guy has never been to a decision. He's got a record of 13-4, as I said. All 13 wins are via finish, and 12 of those 13 wins are in the first round. And I think all 12 of them, or most of them, are in like the first half of the first round. He's got 5 knockouts, not 1 TKO. They're all knockouts. And all of those knockouts come within the first minute of the fight. 2 of them are in 7 seconds, which we saw against Matt Frivola, one of his best wins. I guess his best win, definitely. And he has 2 of those, which means it's not a case of him finding the right spot or the accuracy. No, that's otherworldly power. And he has that. I don't want to make him sound like Rumble Johnson, especially because he's more of a submission threat overall. But my point is McKinney definitely has the touch. He's also gotten head kick knockouts. He's gotten ground and pound knockouts. I mean, he's only got 5 of them, but they're all knockouts. He separates them from their senses. His 8 submission victories, he's got 6 of them come via rear naked choke, 1 armbar, and then 1 anomaly on his record, a 3rd round knee bar, which I can't even fucking fathom watching all his fights. I wasn't able to see that one. But McKinney is a wrestler first and foremost, which explains the rear naked chokes. He's got the submission chops, a lot of great skills there, but they only complement his wrestling. And that's why the majority of his wins are him taking you down, getting your back, and finishing you. You know, he's in the dominant position. And I do think wrestling's an advantage for him here against Bonfim. But T-Rex, that's McKinney, by the way, you know, he is a very offensive fighter. He is offense personified and one of the best first-round fighters in the sport today. I really do trust his offense, but he is breakable or finishable. All 4 of his losses are via finish, and if you were to tell me this guy lost 5 fights in the next 3 years, whatever, I would tell you not one of them is a decision. I just can't imagine this guy losing a decision. You know, if he's losing for 10 minutes of a fight, he's probably getting taken out. Now, his 4 losses, one of them is an injury after 30 seconds, which I discount. Although, if you see a few of them on some guy's record, it is a trait, and you should take note of it. But his losses are all to good competition. They should be to UFC fighters. One was to Drew Dober, one to Sean Woodson, both in the UFC, and the other to Darrick Minner, who threw his fucking career away after throwing a fight, and now he's no longer in the UFC. But if he wasn't a degenerate, then yeah, he would be an active UFC fighter. So it's not like he's just always beatable and breakable and whatever. It takes skill, and it takes good fighters, really good fighters, to get him out of there. But you know, he does have deficiencies. He does have holes in his game. Minner got him out of there with a triangle choke in the first 2 minutes, which, say what you will about Darrick Minner, and I have, but as far as submission prowess goes, he's up there at the top of the food chain. He's very submittable himself, yes. The majority of his losses are via submission, but he is a very skilled submission artist, and he can tap a lot of great fighters. McKinney was one of them. You know, that's a loss you can't attribute to anything else but pure skill. Although maybe inexperience and whatever the fuck. His other losses came to Sean Woodson on the Contender Series, who knocked him out in round 2. It was a fight that T-Rex was winning with his wrestling, grinding him. And then in round 2, there was a little bit of space, and Woodson parlayed all of his chances into this one flying knee and got it. Knocked him out. And that's a loss that, as much as I'd love to attribute it to cardio, because I always suspect McKinney will have awful cardio, I can't. It was a 2nd round knockout, and it was a flying knee. It was more of a durability issue, in my opinion. And then his other loss came to Drew Dober. This was last year, an excellent fight. McKinney's one of the only guys who came close to finishing Dober with strikes. Dober's only been finished once, and it was on the regional scene. But if you ask me today, he's got one of the strongest chins in the sport. And McKinney almost got him out of there, poured his heart out trying to do it, and then I think he had nothing left. Dober turned the tables within the round, and it was pretty much the beginning of the end as soon as he faced a little bit of adversity to spell it out. I don't know if that was him having gassed himself out, which it certainly looked like it was a possibility, or just the fact that Dober has serious power, and it's not like, being the nail against some average fighter. When Drew Dober's the hammer, he can probably put you away. But regardless of what it was, the tide turned, and within seconds, he was out of there. So, even though you could write off all of his losses to excellent competition and really skilled fighters, I have a lot of serious reservations about him being able to be the nail. Like I said, if I'm betting on Ismael Bonfim, even though I might not be picking him, but if I am, and I am betting on him, I'm betting on both guys, I'll be betting on the finish, because I don't trust that T-Rex can be the nail. I do think he, has physicality on his side and a more distinct wrestling advantage and overall grappling advantage, where he might be able to prolong a loss here, but make it last longer. Yeah, but I think overall he still gets finished if he does lose, and if he wins, it's in the first round and probably by first round submission. Ismael Bonfim, he is 18-3, 8 TKOs, 4 submissions, 6 decisions. The 3 decisions come in his last. 3 of his decisions come in his 3 last fights. 2 in the LFA against solid Brazilian fighters, and 1 against Abasov, Abasov, on the Contender Series. And in all 3 fights, he was largely dominant. He's looked good, and he was able to fight for a decision. The 3rd round against one of the guys, Augusto, I think, slowed down a little bit. He let himself get caught against the cage. But in general, I trust his ability to fight long. He's a guy who's more of a conventional fighter than Terrence McKinney, and I trust his ability to fight long. He's shown a lot of good traits. He does have great hands. That's primarily his best weapon. This guy has great technique defensively, keeps his hands up, and he throws sharp strikes. Good form as far as I can tell. I'm no fucking expert, but you'll see when you watch him. And if he gets there. But if he does get there, I do think he's got the offensive prowess to take out T-Rex. Submission-wise, he's got 4 submission victories. It's not nothing. And his brother is certainly a more skilled submission artist. Guy is a bona fide submission artist. So Ismael has submission chops, but his 3 losses do come via submission. They're all first-round submissions, but they're all early in his career. Very early in his career, over 9 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago is the last one, and that was to Renato Moicano. And one of his other losses is to Adriano Moraes, who's fighting Demetrius Johnson over in ONE FC. My point is, he's an elite fighter, even though he's down a weight class, but still. He should probably be fighting at fucking welterweight anyway. But Ismael Bonfim, he's only lost to really good fighters. There was another guy that beat him. He retired with a 2-0 record. I don't know if he's really good. But regardless, 3 first-round submission losses. It can't be a coincidence that he's lost the same way 3 times. But it's no coincidence that I know 2 of those fighters, and they're both 2 elite fighters, I'll say. Or damn near close to it. So, and the fact that he hasn't been submitted in almost 10 years or finished in 10 years, beaten, it bodes well for him and his future. Still, I'm picking against him here. My pick, if I had a gun to my head, I'd go with McKinney. I think McKinney gets it done. But I'm betting both ways. I'm going to bet on my prediction, which is McKinney first-round submission. I do think with his offensive prowess and his back-taking skills and overall, submission threat, I do think with the physicality advantage and the wrestling advantage, he's going to be able to take advantage of some shit and probably get him out of there early. If not, I think Bonfim gets him out of there with strikes. And that could happen at the end of the first round, but I don't think so. I think, even if he was to win with strikes, it would be a longer fight. He doesn't have the offensive threat, the prowess that Drew Dober has, where, I know the beginning of the round is going to belong to McKinney, and if he was able to turn it around, I don't think he'd get McKinney out of there in the first round. Second round's totally different, and that's where I do think we would see potential gas problems for McKinney. And I trust Bonfim's technique to carry, to maintain down the stretch. And I think if the fight does go past the first round or even the first half of the first round, Bonfim's going to win. It's going to be via finish with strikes. So I like Bonfim, round 2 TKO, plus 950. I love that. Sprinkled something on round 1 for 750 and round 3 for 1250. But my primary bet is 950. And for McKinney, I bet on round 1 submission plus 550. Round 1, in case his power gets it done. Round 1 flat is plus 135. And because I'm a degenerate and I like parlays, I also bet on McKinney's money line at minus 130. But I'm not as serious about that as I am about the prop bets, because that's where I think the holes are here. The whatever. It's where you got to strike. Whatever the fuck. All right, like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.